Dude, I literally sat down when I did my inside line. I had no idea. I just like sat down and Dave Trumpore did it, and he was like, "All right, well."
So what? So I'm not familiar with Inside Line. What's Inside Line?
The Vital podcast.
Oh, okay, yes.
So I did one of those. It was like an hour and a half long. It was a big one.
Yes.
And kind of like got to debunk like, you know, my whole story, like, because I did a few video projects and stuff of what I've done and who I am and where I got to, you know, where I made it to, I guess.
Right.
And it was like good to finally just shut that chapter of my career, you know, like here's everything you need to know and let's move on. So cool.
It was the debunking thing, because
Yeah.
I have watched a couple of them, but I don't think I've seen yours yet.
Yeah, it was good. Just talked a little bit about like growing up in Michigan and, you know, being a downhiller.
Like facts, and they give you a fact and you say whether that's a fact or not.
No, I think that you just like asked me questions, like just like straight up. It's like, so what was this like, and what was it like growing up in the flatlands? How'd you start racing downhill? Like kind of that whole thing. And you know, moral of the story is I was a BMX racer. I was, you know, from Michigan and went to Lindsey Wilson College and went on to race downhill. JD Swing Ewan, you know the guy, busted out a light here on a magazine cover once or something.
Epic stuff.
Yeah, he let me ride his slalom bike, and that's how it all started. So it was cool. Cool.
Oh, at school.
At school.
When you were at school.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
JD, since that name came up, he was one of those guys that are on sort of my list of people that I look up to and want to ride like.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on that list too, by the way.
Thank you.
But the list isn't that long.
Yeah.
But it's guys who basically ride everything. And it seems like they're having a really good time doing it.
Bike riders.
They're just bike riders. They just whatever it is that it is, they're going to ride it, and they ride it really well. Yeah. And that goes back to like my racing days. Did you have somebody like when you were racing that you would kind of look at either at the track or off the track? It doesn't matter where it was at, but like someone that you wanted to emulate.
I used to love the way Jeff Upshaw rode a bike.
Oof,
I remember Evansville. This dude pedals down the first straight. Pedal manuals a roller. Manuals up and over a step up. Switches pedals.
Yes.
Manuals down. Sets it down. Jumps it wrong foot forward and cranks the next up. And I was just like,
Did
crazy.
you see his video years ago from Elgin, Illinois?
Yes.
Where it was the pump race.
Yes.
And he jumped the triple.
No chain.
No chain.
Dude, the dude is an animal. Absolute animal. Like, I've always, you know, and I'm pretty good friends with him now. You know, I guess our, you know, paths have went in different directions, but, you know, I'll comment on his stuff. He'll comment on mine. And, you know, he coached me for a while when I was racing BMX. And
cool.
The dude is absolutely unreal. And I've always liked him, watching him ride. Like, you know, I never really looked up to mountain bike racers because I didn't know any of them.
You didn't know any of them.
I raced my first World Cup, and I still didn't even know who Aaron Gwynn was. I was like, oh, that dude won the race. I was like, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, downhill bikes are cool. Like, I'd raced like a handful of races at that point in time, you know? It happened so fast that I was just like, I didn't know all those dudes. It was kind of a blessing in disguise, really. So,
kind of, because it sort of takes a little bit of the pressure off. Like, not knowing, like, how kind of lethal, I call them lethal, that those guys are. Like the top guys that have been doing it for a while, like how like machine-like they are, and like getting up there and just laying it down, and that's just what they do.
They just go up there, they turn it on, they don't make any mistakes, they get the job done, and they go home. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, obviously, like at the highest levels, things just go wrong, and like you can't explain it. It doesn't, like it happened to me at Lenzerheide this year. I was on a top 10 run and just slid out literally in the last corner. Could have threw a rock through the finish line, and like just lost both wheels in a flat corner. Like,
and you knew it was a good run. I mean, at the splits, you were up.
I knew I was riding well.
Okay.
I knew I was riding well, and I wasn't because of the way that race played out. I wasn't up at the splits, but I was in contention for a good result. And in my opinion, when I go to a World Cup, a good result is a top 10. That's kind of what I shoot for.
Sure.
That's where I want to be, and I think that's where I should be, and that's what we go to work to do. I'm not there to like be in 25th. That if I'm in 25th, I'm I'm going home on the plane pretty angry.
Yeah, like you're bummed.
Yeah,
Super bummed.
yeah.
I don't blame you, but I do think, going back to like the mistakes that happen, you guys ride on a razor thin edge. I mean, when you guys are laying down a race run, you're literally throwing everything kind of out the window. Like,
it's on the edge.
Safety, the people watching, your bike, the earth, it doesn't matter.
When I hear Brooke McDonald come through, I think he breaks the earth half the time. It's unreal.
It is just like,
yeah.
But when you're
punishing.
riding on that small of a ledge or that edge, like, I would think that the run would go wrong at least once per run. But in the sport that you do, World Cup downhill, it's the guys that don't make a mistake and are riding on the edge. So do you watch other guys' runs? I mean, so when you're in the pits, do you get to watch it?
I stay away from it. I do.
Okay, so you don't watch it. Your run is your run.
When I am on the side of the track in practice and I see dudes come through, my head melts down. I don't even like stopping in practice because I see dudes come through and I'm like, there's no way I go that fast. There's no way I compete. That dude's gonna win this weekend. Like, and it literally just melts my brain. Like, I don't like to stop on the side of the track. I try to not look at what other riders are doing because I don't know how fast I go. I don't know what it looks like when I go by.
You watch footage of yourself?
I mean, you do, but on TV, when you're watching it on TV, it's impressive. But when you're standing on the side of the track and you watch some dudes go through sections, you're just like, whoa, like that is gnarly. And I mean, so like when the race is coming down, I'm not a times guy. Like, I don't run a GoPro in practice other than just looking at where I'm going. I don't play the times game. So when I go up to drop in, I don't know what time I'm going to run. I don't want to know that Finn Isles ran this or Laurie Greenland ran this because it messes with my head. I just go up there and just go ride as fast as I can and go do my deal. Right. And I try to isolate myself from the rest of the race.
I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's good to do
that. There's so many different ways to approach it, really.
Yeah, because there's not, well, like, if you compare it to BMX racing, it's way different because the racing, it's roller, step up, rhythm section, you know, and 4 straights.
Yeah.
In downhill, you have all kinds of different lines, and you have to pick apart the track to know, with your skill set, what is the fastest line? What's going to get you to the bottom the fastest? Yep. And then you have to put these sections together. And I think from someone who doesn't do that, I think that probably, for me, would be the hardest thing to do, is to lay back when you have to lay back and let it wide open when it needs to be wide open, and then cater to your strengths.
Yeah.
Do you try to do that a little bit? Where just, you know, there's sections of the track that you know that you're going to do very well at. And then there's sections where you might, you know.
That's the game. That's putting it together. That's racing for me. And it's like, everyone's like, you know, line choice and this and that. And yeah, you go to a U.S. National and somebody might be riding one crazy line that nobody else isn't. But for the most part at a World Cup, these dudes are so good. The main line is the best line for the most part on the track.
Right.
Or there's 2 really good lines, and then you ride the line that you're confident you can hit every time. But when it comes to racing and putting down your race run, I know that there's some dudes that kind of approach it the way I do, other dudes that break it down. But if I have a crash somewhere in practice, that's a place kind of in my runs where I'm like, ooh, like I need to, you know, back it down a little bit and get through. And then there's other places where I've just crushed it in practice all weekend. I feel super confident, and I know I'm going to ride that at 110. You know, so I might ride this at 85 and ride this at 105, and hopefully it all, you know, balances out.
It's the 105 that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah. There's
it's 101 that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I ride at 100%, but I know that I'm not. I just know that I'm not, because I'll watch a video of myself riding and I'm like, oh wasn't going that fast, but it felt like 100%, but it really wasn't. So you're saying, though, when you don't pay attention to times, even during practice, you don't, like, there's no one there on your team that's putting a stopwatch on you?
No.
Or there's no timed practice?
There is time training, which I'm top 60, so I get time training. So some dudes go all out, some dudes cruise. If I'm in the top 20 in time training, I'm not a rider that really ramps up to speed pretty quick. So if I'm in the top 20 in time training, I'm like, okay, we're going racing. If I'm in the top 10, I'm like, okay, we feel pretty good. I rarely ever get greedy and go to a second time training and try to go faster. I think that's when you make mistakes or crash, get hurt.
Right.
And then if I come down in qualifying, I'm kind of a rider that doesn't really like hang it out and like get on the ragged edge very often. I mean, sometimes it happens, but I pride myself on staying real in control and riding within my means. So when I'm in when I come down top 10 in qualifying, I'm like, okay, we got a good weekend. We're going for it. And then if you come down like 15th, 18th, you're like, ooh, we gotta find some time. And you go back and look at the splits. But I ride for, Da Vinci isn't by any means the biggest team on the circuit. I mean, there's Specialized Gravity. They're running timers on the side of the track. There's the Syndicate. They got PD. There's dudes running stopwatches. Yeah. I pretty much am like, either I feel good or I don't. And there's some races I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on it. And then there's other races where I come down to the pits and like, we need to change some things.
Right. We need to change some things. So do you have a riding coach?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I ride with Nico Mullally quite a lot. He's originally from Reading, PA. I'm sure many of the people that would listen to this who know who I am know who he is. He's kind of a big deal in American downhill and a leader in growing the sport and a dude that's been on all levels of the playing field for World Cup racing. And we use each other to hold each other accountable. Similar to the way, say, like the Baker's Factory does with motocross. We ride together, we work out together, and we compete against each other a lot of the time. Pretty much every session, we push each other, and it's nice because we both realize it's us against the world, not really us against each other. So we definitely push each other, and there's things that he's really good at, and there's things that I'm really good at. So it makes a good balance. So I think that in our sport, it would be good to have a riding coach. I just don't think that the sport has developed to that level yet.
Right. So there's nobody at the side of the track that's watching your run and saying, you know what, if you just move up just a little bit further on the bike, or if you move back a little bit further, or keep your shoulders level, or make sure your arms are out. There's nobody that's sort of, I mean, other riders maybe, that you trust and you confide in.
But as far as form goes, not on the bike, I have James McAllister. He's a guy that helped me start racing. He's from Metamora, Michigan, and he's actually here riding with me today. And he will come out when I do testing and watch the bike go down to the track and be like, your rebound's a little slow, or it looks like you got too much high-speed compression.
That's cool.
And he'll do that a couple times a year. But as far as regular training or at the World Cup, I don't have a riding skills coach at this point.
Right. That's interesting because you guys, when you and Nico ride together, like, you guys are sharing kind of information, and you're completely open, and you'll say, hey, that didn't feel right. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. And maybe if he saw something, he would tell you. Yeah. He would say, oh, well, yeah, you got a little forward on that one, or you got a little, off balance on that.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting because Nico has a completely different riding style than me. He's real forward on the bike, elbows up. He stands up real straight, flat backed. He's like a linebacker. Like he goes through things. And I think I ride a little farther off the back. I ride real low. I ride my levers real low. So I kind of have a completely different style than him. He turns with the front wheel. I turn with the rear wheel a lot more.
Interesting.
We're very different from that aspect, and I think that more so that we tend to work on. I get a little more ragged than he does, and he's a little more calculated. So sometimes there's moments where he needs to just let it go, and there's moments when I maybe need to be a little more precise. So that's kind of how we do our skills training. It's not so much form, it's more controlling speed, how we control our speed.
So you're in the off season now.
Yep.
So it's little a couple days after Thanksgiving is when this is being recorded, and you're in the off season. So, are you still riding the DH bike like all the time? I mean, in the off season?
No, I've rode my downhill bike one day since the last World Cup. Well, since U.S. Open, I guess, was the last race for me this season. I had some friends come into town, so I went out and rode my downhill bike with them. I did like 6 laps. Right. But really, I have a test camp coming up next week in California, so I'm going to go out there and ride some different stuff on the bike. Yep. And I'm going to do that. So that'll be kind of the kickoff to my kind of training season and stuff, like my starting point, if you will. And right now I'm riding a lot of motocross. It makes me super happy.
I saw that.
Makes me super fit. It's good for arm pump. Good for like I said, I've said this multiple times. I think it's great that you're fighting acceleration forces rather than being more in a pushing position on the bike. And riding my hardtail a ton, getting back to like my roots, riding dirt jumps, riding skate parks, just all those things that really make me happy. And doing some trail riding, some going to the gym, doing some rehab and stuff. But
I like how trail riding is like at the bottom of the priority list. Is it all the downhill guys just hate pedaling uphill? Do all of them, like yourself? I mean, you ride trails, right? I mean, you live in Knoxville.
Yeah, we have great riding. It's awesome on my e-bike.
Oh, my God. So no pedaling uphill?
Yeah, I do pedal uphill. Okay. I do it. We all downplay it. We all have to do it. It's part of it. It's not fun. It's great to get out there and kind of silence the chatter in your head. Do some nature, do some thinking. Do that whole thing. That's the cool part about it for me. I want to be fit. I want to be able to pedal up hills and stuff.
But there's other things that you're doing.
There's other things that are making me happy.
For making you happy, but the fit part.
Yeah.
I mean, you're young. Fitness kind of comes a little easy for you because you are young, but you still have to obviously work at it. So you're going to the gym, you're doing all that stuff. So the cardio stuff just comes with the gym, and are you a runner?
It's all separate. My gym is very focused on. For me, I had shoulder surgery last winter. I kind of was in a rush to get back ready to go racing, and I kind of had to cut some corners. And I made the most out of what time I had. Right. But I've had a lot of time to just properly get healthy, and that's been my primary focus. And cool. I mean, I went to the motocross track the other day and had like a 175 heart rate average for 4 20-minute motos. My heart rate almost hit 200. So I'm fit. But when I go out and pedal, my coach is like, "Hey, man, I think we need to start going a little harder on the trail bike." Yeah. Okay. He's like, "I think you got a little more in you." And
so no road bike.
No, I do from time to time have to do some stuff on it.
But it's not in the schedule.
But it's not in my schedule. I really don't. I do it. I don't enjoy it. I do it when I have to do it.
I know.
But I ride by myself most of the time too on my trail bike. I don't go on big group rides or anything. Like this time of the year, I just go out and I do my time and then I go to the skate park.
You have some fun. So I've seen the videos of the skate park stuff and I don't know. I think you guys have some local trails there, right? Some DJ stuff.
Yep, we have some DJ stuff, and then I spend a lot of time down in Brevard, North Carolina.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And there's some stuff down there.
A couple hours from there, right?
Yeah, 2 hours, and most weeks I load my van up, and that's where all the motocross tracks are. So I load my van up, I go down to Nico's house, and we do some stuff together. And
now Nico was originally from like the Baltimore area.
Reading, PA.
Reading, PA.
Yep.
Okay, so he's in North Carolina.
Yes. So he lives in Brevard now.
Okay. I haven't talked to him in forever. There is one time, though, I think it was a national at South Park. He showed up to race BMX.
Sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, and I turned around and I saw him, and I took like one of those double takes, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" Like that. And he's like, "I'm racing. What are you doing here?" Like that. And I go, "I'm racing," and I just couldn't believe it. The guy's got a snap. He's got a first straight.
He's strong. He can pedal. That.
So I mean, I don't know. So getting back to that, the reason why I say this thing is like guys like yourself and Nico kind of started racing BMX to start things out for you. Like that was like something that you just love to do and whatever. So I always tell people, that if you're looking to get your child or yourself some skills, go to the BMX track.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
The simplest bike teaches you the most. I mean,
right.
I've been so blessed to be around here. You know, you go out and you ride here and you see the kids. The kids that ride in this place are unbelievably skilled, and this place is built in a way where you can progress so fast because you have all the building blocks.
Right.
You know, I was out there riding my bike and teaching my girlfriend to carve corners today. You know, that's not something that she has to do ever, and she didn't race BMX. She was a cross-country racer, turned downhill racer, and it's, you know, I've been so lucky to live in Michigan, and you know, as much as I love racing the BMX and going to the track and stuff, our winters are so harsh that it forces you inside. It takes you out of your comfort zone, and it makes me get on this thing and go, you know, learn old stuff that I've done before, learn new stuff, you know, have the pieces and the building blocks to get better and gain those skills. And I think if you're any sort of, whatever you choose to do on a bicycle, if you don't own a dirt jumper, what are you doing? Like that's
dirt jumper, or even like if you're younger and like a race bike, you know, or even if you don't have a race bike, you don't have to have a race bike to go to the BMX track.
No.
But I really do think it's stuff like that. So, so you take the racer and you say to the racer, look, you got to ride more than just the track.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could preach it till you're blue in the face. And that's how we get riders here too, is like, it's off season, there's really no BMX tracks to go to that are near the BMX track. But I tell them, I was like, you got to ride places like this, like Ray's, but also like other indoor skateboard parks, or even when the weather's like not snowy or rainy, like go to the outdoor park and just ride around, just have some fun. Like BMX racing is great, and if you choose to do it, you could be really good at it, but you have to ride everything. And that's why I said at the beginning, like, you're on that list for me, along with other people that ride everything. They just ride it's not just one thing that makes you a good rider. It's everything. And there's a lot of people that I know that I would love to get on a mountain bike and just ride like trails. I would love to get on a mountain bike with some of these kids that I see racing BMX or riding trails. And a few of them I have, and it's amazing to watch those guys ride in the woods.
It transitions so well.
It does. And it's so much fun to watch those kids just have a blast. And they're like nose bonking the rocks on the side. They're bunny hopping to nose bonk, to Manny, to like all this stuff. And it's just, it's great, because that's going to be the next generation that's eventually going to go into the mountain bike world. That's
been huge for me too. It's just like seeing, not just being a trails guy or being a skate park rider or being a BMXer or a mountain biker. Just ride your bike, be well-rounded, and everything is so, you know, builds upon each other, and it's just good to see. You know, you don't want to be like Swiss Army knife, like kind of real good at a lot of things and not really good at another. Like, have your passion, have the things you progress, have the things where you set goals and hold yourself accountable, but don't skip the pieces to the puzzle. To, you know, the pyramid's only as big as the base. You know, like just be a bike rider, and that's I think the coolest part. I mean, even here you see, you know, so many different people from so many different, you know, categories or walks of life, and
here you do,
it's incredible. It's really cool. It's really cool. Special.
I think it does kind of take people off guard when they come here, because they think that they're in a category all by themselves before they get here. They're like, I haven't ridden in years. I've got this old mountain bike. I'm this age. Nobody at this place is going to be like me. Right?
Yeah.
And then they get here, and then they see 15 to 20 other people who are exactly like them, who are that age, that haven't ridden in forever, that have this older bike, that have like this older helmet and whatever, and they're looking around, they're going, oh my God, all these people are just like me. This is crazy. And you do see it, you know? So when we're out there, I mean, you know, obviously you've been riding bikes for a long time. I've been riding bikes for a long time. Like, we're sort of in the minority almost. Don't you think? Right? The minority of the people who have been doing it for a really long time are really small. It's the people who are just figuring this out. Like cycling, I think, is still growing.
It is so
and
weird.
Hopefully it does.
Yeah.
But you see way more of the people that haven't been doing it forever. And I think that's the misnomer of this place, that people think that it's just guys like me and you who are here. And that's Absolutely. Not it. We're 2 of maybe 10 people in this whole place that have been riding for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange because when you look at like cycling as a whole, we get, you go to the races, you go do, the various different categories. Mm-hmm. You're super well-rounded and diverse with what you do. But, me, I'm kind of like the upper echelon, like racer. That's what I do. I want to compete. I don't want to, really do the slalom or the pump track like I used to. I want to race downhill at the highest level. And you come to places like this, or you see the whole community of people that ride bicycles.
Yeah.
And really, you are kind of the outcast. Like, yeah, people go, it's every once in a while I have a kid that goes, whoa, I'll hear him say, whoa, did you see that? And I do something cool, and I'm stoked on it, and then there's some kid that's stoked on it, and it trickles down, and it's cool like that. But there's so many people that they just don't care. They're just here to ride their bike. They don't care what anybody else is doing.
It's so great to see that.
It's when you look at the whole bicycle industry as a whole, and so many kids that want to get sponsored and this and that. Like, no one knows who I am and what I'm doing, but they know who the dude that makes YouTube videos is, or like the guy from Instagram, the local kid from Instagram, and it's cool to just cruise around, listen to people talk, and hang out. And, every once in a while, somebody will be like, hey, I know who you are. It's like you slap a high five.
And you go, oh, the guy from the news? And you go, no, that's not where I know you from. Didn't I see you at the post office on the 10 Most Wanted? Yeah, that's you. No, that's not me, kid. No. It's pretty funny because,
pretty cool.
A lot of people don't see you like this. They see you on Red Bull TV at the World Cup with a full face helmet on and your Da Vinci gear and your race gear and all that stuff. So when you're here, and it's common for a lot of the people, who are doing what they do for a living, riding bikes for a living, is that when they're here, they're almost a different person, kind of.
Absolutely.
They're not, but they're kind of like that.
No, I agree.
Like,
couldn't agree more.
Leathers. I mean, if you came in with your jersey on.
Yeah, plastered in logos.
Well, I mean, they would, but it's a very, very good atmosphere here, I think.
Yeah,
is because
absolutely.
It almost puts everybody on the same playing field. It's
everyone that walks through that door, whether they're a kid just off training wheels or they're a dude in that spandex on a 29er XC bike that's chases Strava. I mean, not that that's each ends of the spectrum, but I mean, there's a couple of the demographics that you get here,
Yeah, you
and it's like,
that.
it's cool. Like, it's just a good environment, good to be a part of. And it's just really pure. It is bike riding. It's why we do this. I remember my first, I was kind of all, last night I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I was all kind of like old nostalgia. Like, I remember my first race trip, and like, I built this brand new bike up after, I think it was right after Christmas, got a new bike, and I was building it up on my grandpa's table in his basement. We were up till 1 in the morning, profile crank arms brand new for the first time, getting the splines right, taking them on and off. And, I got up at 5:30 in the morning and came down here. And this morning when I started my sprinter and I was getting ready to come down, I was just like, man, how many years? We gonna do this? It's the same deal. You always eat at the same places, stop at you have your routine, you have the ritual. It's good. It's good.
It is good. It is great that the place is still here, and it's because people still come back. Man, they come back and ride. They pay their admission, and it keeps the lights on. It keeps a couple people paid.
Yeah.
None of us are making a ton of money doing this, but and I've said this in other interviews too, it's hearing those stories from whoever it is, whether it's from you or other people, have that same story of their first trip to race, and they remember how kind of magical it was.
Yeah.
And then leaving and going, God, that was awesome.
It's good.
I can't wait to go back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's what we're still trying to do, is we're trying to build stuff that everybody can ride, that everybody feels safe riding, that and that will make you want to come back. So if it's not just one thing that you're not getting, like, and you only come once or twice a year, you know that we're going to do some cool stuff in the summer, and then you come back and you're like, oh my God, you changed all this, or all this is different, or holy crap, what did you know? And it's, I don't know, I think it's great. I'm very blessed and very fortunate to be a part of something that's so magical, and it's stories like what you said, you know, about this place. It just puts it over the top, and it's fantastic. So I'm thankful that you guys come out and ride when you have the time to do it, for sure. You know, I stalk you on Instagram, so believe me, I'm watching everything you do. So let's talk a little bit about like. Let's talk a little bit about like Rampage or Hardline. Is that something that you would want to do?
Yeah, I've actually got the opportunity to do Hardline the last 2 years. I was dealing with some injuries the year before. I didn't think it was safe to go there and really take those impacts.
All right.
My shoulder was coming out frequently, so I wasn't trying to go.
Okay.
This year I'd overlapped with the U.S. Open, and I made some early commitments to attend the U.S. Open. I'm super fond of that event. Clay Harper puts on an amazing race, and you have to support your local race. I mean, it's in our country, it is the race, you know. It was so good for so many years, and so many fast guys came out. So I would like to do Hardline. It's absolutely 100% on my list. Mick Hanna, you know, gave me the lowdown on it, and he told me like it's awesome. Everybody just sessions everything, and everyone's, you know, the energy's really good and big jumps, and I'm all about hitting a moto kicker on a downhill bike. So I got to go.
This year was super, I mean, it was crazy. And to see the guys navigate that course, and I don't know, like, obviously, you know, you can gauge one from the other, like one course is way gnarly than another course. But Hardline, I guess, is like super gnarly. Like, the jumps are insane. That one road gap is like 60 feet down, like step down. That is one of the events that I make sure that is on my schedule to watch. And it's in the UK, but it's fantastic. So can you just go, or is that an invite only?
It's kind of invite only. I mean, you can kind of ask to go. I think they kind of choose who goes, and I think that they want to grow that event, so they want more people to go. Obviously, Hardline has its own qualifier and stuff to do, and those guys are absolutely mental. I mean, Reed, you know, Ethan Nell, like Andrew, like there's that whole list of dudes that goes out there. Kyle Strait,
that's been doing it since what, 08?
Zink
is still sending
those dudes are something else.
Have you been able to go out and at least ride it?
No, I never have gone out there. And you know, for me, every year, like I've been racing, you know, I guess my 5th year now, but everything's built upon itself so fast. Like I get done with the race season and I'm fully pinned, like hands on, trying to get stuff done and around the house, and you know, you've been gone. But I'm hoping that, like, as things have settled down, like, you know, I have a little more stable living environment. Like, you know, I'm getting my van dialed in. I'm doing all my stuff that I want to do, you know, and I hope to go out there next year. I want to do more of that stuff. I've kind of like, this year, at the end of the year, I was just kind of, I worked so hard to get back. I was just kind of like over it. I wanted to get away from my downhill bike for a little while. I got a little burnout, and I think everybody does every year.
Sure,
you know,
they do.
People ask like, oh, you know, how could you not want to ride your bike? It's like, well, you sit in an airport that long, and all the planes and the time changes. You're like, at the end, you're like, I'm good. Like, I'm ready to be home and be on the couch.
Ready to be home and not travel and not have that schedule. Because it's your schedule for the racing is every week?
It's not. It's usually 2 weeks on, and then we have a little break, and then 2 weeks on, and then a little break. But you know, it starts early and stuff. But it's not really the racing as much. The racing is easy. It's just, you know, you're training 3 times a day. It gets, you know, you go to the gym in the morning, you do a trail ride in the afternoon, you know, you try to do some skill builder stuff or some corner drills. You try to go to the motocross track and clean all this stuff. And, you know, living in the southeast, everything's covered in mud all the time. It never ends. But I kind of had a new awakening for riding my bike this year. I took a lot of time away from it, and I just really have had a spark to just want to progress and want to learn and just want to ride as much as I can. And
so you're looking forward to the California trip.
Yeah.
When you go out there to like some training camp and get back on the bike again and
that's kind of my
reacquainted sort
my thing,
of. But I think it's healthy to get away from it for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you get to a point to where it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know, to where you're just kind of like, I got to do this again. Got to sit in this airport again. You know, whatever.
It gets monotonous.
Yes, but then you have to like step back a little bit and go, how many people would love to be where I'm at?
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and people ask me all the time, like, dude, you get to ride every day. And I'm like, no, I get to work every day. Then I get to ride after work. It's work first.
Yeah.
You know, then ride. But yeah, there are times when I don't want to be here just because it's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get burnt out a little bit. And they're like, how do you get burnt out on rays? And it's like,
well, come here every day.
Yeah. Well, you can get burnt out on anything you do. It doesn't matter what it is, you know? So, so the Rampage stuff, being a downhiller and stuff, you know, being more of a racer, which I see some of the racers like Brendan was doing it, awesome, and I know you've got some skill sets. So that's why I was kind of like, is this something that you would be interested in doing maybe if, you know, but I'm sure it's a sponsorship obligation stuff now. Do the sponsors, like the team that you're on, do they tell you, all right, no skydiving, no bungee jumping?
No, not at all. They have, you know, honestly, after the last race, my phone doesn't ring for a few months. Like, I have full leeway to do whatever I want, and they don't really, I think they're not really in a position where they want me to just kind of take a step back from like injury-prone things. I think I do that more than anything, you know. Right. And I've been fired up lately. Like, you know, I've been doing backflips and 360s and getting tricks back I used to do when I rode BMX a lot, and I've been fired up on that. But even that, like, I was at the wheel mill the other night, and I was like, wanted to flip one of the bigger jumps, and I was like, maybe I should just hang out, you know, keep all hands and feet inside the wheel or inside the car.
I think that's great because you now have developed this fan base. I'm not saying you're doing it for us.
Yeah.
But we would love to see you at 100% and being out there and competing for the win, which we all know that you have it. You know that you have it. And that's what we want to see. So, you know,
so it's like...
I know, because you do want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's also like, you know, you have obligations and things, and you want to do this one thing, and you want to win this race. And in order to win this race, one less backflip is worth it.
Yeah, and it's you know, I'm fired up to progress in a safe manner, and I want to film. I want to create inspiring content. Yeah. I want to ride my bike to the highest potential I can. And I, more than anything, you know, maybe I may never win a World Cup. I may never get on a World Cup podium again. Maybe I'd win a World Cup overall. Who knows? But I want to have a fair shot of looking back and saying, I gave it everything I could. And I want to, at least for a couple years while I'm still like kind of in a prime age, and I'm still, you know, I haven't been doing it for 10 years. I'm not really, like, you get burnt out every year, but I'm not burnt out on racing downhill by any means. I'm more fired up and more, I want to train and be as fit as I can and go as fast as I can, more than I ever have.
Right.
And I think that this building thing I do every year where I ride the hardtail, I do a lot of fun stuff, and I'm probably more on the fun side of some of the other dudes when it comes to the training and stuff. Some dudes maybe take it a little seriously, but maybe I come off that I don't care sometimes, but I promise you, I grind. I work hard, and I want it more than anything else. So, you know, like you just, you know, sometimes you get a little peer pressure to do some gnarly stuff, and you're like, well, I don't really need to do that. Right, you know, you got to keep your head on straight. And but I mean, that's what I want to do. And in the future, Hardline, absolutely. I would love to have the opportunity. It would be super cool. But if I do it, I want to earn it. I want to go through proving grounds and I want to earn my spot, because those dudes, I have so much respect for what they do. Those guys are absolutely mental. They're very, very special individuals to be able to do what they do. Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of cool because being on 510 and some of the different sponsors that I have, I get, you know, to hang around some of the dudes that do free ride, or like Danny Macaskill and Matt Jones, and like all these dudes that are like incredible athletes, and they 100% respect what we do as much as how I feel about them as athletes. So it's pretty cool. So maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe someday. I would like to see it. I would like to see you race Hardline. And then the Rampage thing was just something I threw in, just because I was cool. Like, well, you know, I mean, you never know.
I don't see myself flat dropping a back flat drop backflips or anything like that, but you know, I've done some gnarly stuff. Like those dudes are absolutely insane. But I would like to go out there and film some stuff for sure.
Okay.
I've been wanting to film a lot more.
So, do you have anything lined up for any sort of filming?
Yeah, we have some plans for some cool stuff next year. I haven't started on any of it. Where I live, it's hard because it gets real muddy, and that never really looks inspiring. I think you have to go somewhere dry where dirt can fly and you can ride at your full potential. I never really feel like, unless it's like Slice of British Pie, where those dudes are like absolutely spending their life. I don't think it looks good where I live. Like I can't get away with that at Windrock. There's a lot of sharp stuff out there.
Right.
You'll get hurt.
So Windrock would be considered home for you, sort of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, live in Knoxville, but it's
my home mountain.
Far? It's like
30 minutes. Yeah.
It's 30 minutes. Okay, so that's home. So, is it just always wet there? Is that where you're talking about filming? I mean, do you want to film at Windrock?
There's some things, I've wanted to go a couple different places that I think would be real cool. Like, places where a lot of people don't get to go, like, I know some dudes that film some stuff in like Bali and like Thailand and all that. Like that's like a dream. Hawaii would be so cool. I would like to film at my home park just because I've filmed a couple things, but it's always been when it's really, really slippery and you don't get to do a lot of the gnarly stuff I would like to do.
Right.
But not really like these massive projects. I just want to kind of produce stuff that makes people want to go out and ride their bike. I think at the base, racing's cool, and I put all my energy and effort into that, and that's what I wake up every day to do. But at the same time, like, I want to make people want to get out and ride their bike.
So what is some of the recent sort of film stuff that you've seen? That would make you want to go ride your bike?
I like all that real tech slalom, like watching Boss's stuff, watching. Obviously Semenuk's stuff is just like absolutely mental. Like his projects are just like dream stuff. I agree. Like Brett Reeder, I watched his project he did.
Parallel?
Yeah. Yep.
With Ryan?
Oh yeah.
That was crazy too.
Crazy, man.
With the tree.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And like Motive, I watch Motive all the time, like in the morning when I'm on the rower, like drinking coffee.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, when our dog with the Eagles and the underflip, it's just like
the dual underflips
that
they did right next to each other at the end of Parallel was like, I've got cold chills now just thinking about it. But
crazy.
Those are the kind of things, that inspire you to be like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Like that, now I want to go ride my bike.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last one that I saw was Bernard Kerr's recent pivot.
The 429. I've seen the ad. I didn't watch it.
When he's just ripping, and then at the very end, he's got just this super sick whip. It looks like he just completely destroys the tire and rim, but I know he doesn't. But he
did that whip on Dirt Merchant on the first right-hand hip of Dirt Merchant in a video like a year ago. Dude was upside down. I was just like, how do you even do that, dude?
Yes.
Like crazy.
Yes.
These guys
I think
talented.
it was this recent. It must have been recent because I've been seeing it over and over again. But that kind of stuff, where it's just slalomy, loam, just beautiful, and you're like, where do these people find these places to film this stuff?
I
know,
get it.
Because I'm like, this is not where I ride. Where I ride, this doesn't happen. But you got to remember, these guys are at the top level of doing what they do, so they can really turn anything, any sort of thing, into something that's like just the sickest thing you've ever seen. Yeah. So his thing is what motivates me to want to get outside. It's really crappy out here in Cleveland right now, so there's not going to be any outdoor riding, but that's what motivates me. So I think what you're wanting to do is great, because it will motivate other people to want to ride too, and it's fun.
Yeah, I always feel like I've done a lot of film projects in the past, and I usually like show up, have never rode, and just like have to cold like go at it, try to film something on something I've never ridden. Like I would like to film on some stuff that I've had some time to ride and really feel comfortable on. And have it not be like a super press, like we have 1 day to film 3 minutes and we're running and you're tired filming a clip 50 tries. You know, I want to like have some time to like produce something that I'm really happy with, and that I feel like my riding is really up to par. I don't think I've even been able to like scratch the tip of the iceberg of what I feel I'm capable of doing for that, you know, film and stuff. So I would love to do it in the off season for sure. Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask you about, like where you've ridden, and like where was just one spot that you could go back to now because you have like this craving to want to ride it again. What would that be? I know there's a ton of them out there. There's a ton of like different things, but just one that just kind of comes to the top of your head.
I went to Queenstown a few years ago. The bike park was super awesome, but I never got to ride like Dreamline, I think is what they call it, the actual downhill jumps. They were like digging them up when I was there and rebuilding them, so I've never got to ride them.
So you never got to ride it, but that would be something.
That would be something. And then the dirt jumps there are absolutely magical. Like
is that the one where
Gorge Road, like the big field?
It's the field of jumps.
Yes.
And it's exposed, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's only a couple trees.
Yep. And it's like the one that has the big berms at the beginning. Those jumps, you pump as hard as you can, and you pull for all it's worth, and you'll still tag them. You have to just go. If you don't go to the moon, they don't work. Like, really? I mean, I'm sure those dudes are fine, but I mean, I was literally struggling to ride them. I was so humbled, and watching the dudes that ride those things and just roast them to the moon, I was just like, that is so cool.
Because you were obviously doing that.
I was trying. No, I was trying. I was pulling, but I was frustrated. I was just, even the first jump there, that step up, you like pump it, and you like think you're just gonna cruise right over it first time. Usually I go through the line, no issues first time. 50-50 the first jump, and like had to like
stop for a second.
Whoa,
and be
gather myself. Yeah, it was like wow.
Like get back on your bike, turn around, and just like look at it, stand back and look at it.
It's go,
what am I missing? What's going on here?
We've all done it.
What are we doing? Oh, I've done it a million times. Go back there and just look at the side of the jump, and you're like, am I missing something here? What's going on? And then you hit it again, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
But the first time you think you got it licked, and it's not
right.
I
would absolutely love to have the opportunity to go back down there and ride all that stuff. I had a blast when I went there.
Are there any World Cup stops near there?
No, nothing down there. Unfortunately, we seem to just race in Europe.
Are you going back to, what was the first stop?
Lotion.
Was that an
Croatia?
Island?
Yep.
Croatia.
So we go back there this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting, by the way, because it was really kind of, I'm not going to say it's weird because there's nothing weird about it, but I mean, it was just super rocky.
Yeah.
Like, pretty cool. And there were some different lines that I saw some different guys doing. That was pretty cool. Snowshoe. Talk about Snowshoe for a minute. So
cool race.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I haven't been to Snowshoe in a long time. So I don't really remember exactly what's there. But when I heard that the World Cup was coming to Snowshoe, I just didn't think anything was gnarly enough at Snowshoe to be a World Cup event. But obviously they completely smashed that. Because it was, they had some rock fields there that were super gnarly. And I didn't get to go. There were some plans, some whatever that we didn't get to go, and I completely regret it now because it was the closest World Cup race that I'll probably ever get to go to. Now there's rumor that it's coming back, maybe 2021.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. Nothing's in concrete.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You know, I don't know more than you do. When they released the schedule, I'm like, okay, we're going racing.
Were you stoked to see it on the schedule?
I was really excited. I was really concerned about the track. I didn't know if we would have a World Cup track there.
That it would be real pedally or just...
Yeah, real pedally. Sean Leader did the build for it. Yeah. He has his hands in the Windrock stuff. Yep. And he made the top of it carry a lot more speed. And they opened it up. And we had a GRT there that was pretty gnarly a few years ago. They ran it on the ski slope. So I knew it had potential. And I knew that lower hairball would be gnarly enough.
Yeah.
And with that many, like, you don't think it's gnarly because a lot of people go through it a lot slower. But when you see the best dudes in the world, like, flat out going for it through stuff like that, it's something. It's really something.
Yeah. So what did you think? So, you know, I'm not actually asking you to compare because that wouldn't be fair, I guess. But, like, how were the crowds at Snowshoe compared to European crowds?
I think that it was one of the best World Cups of the year. We had a World Cup in France at Le Jet, and that was absolutely mental. The French crowd they went crazy. It was so loud. But I think that our American crowd at Snowshoe was one of the best crowds I've ever raced in front of. And it brought back old memories of, like, my first World Cup racing Wyndham and, like, people screaming USA, like, over the road gap. Like, I'll have that memory forever. So, you know.
So you do hear them.
Oh, you hear. It's hard not to when they're that loud. Like, 8 hours from, like, I mean, Snowshoe is 4 hours from anything else, and most dudes drove over 8 hours to get there. It only brought in, like, die-hard downhill fans. Like, you really had to want to go to the Snowshoe World Cup because it's limited housing in the middle of nowhere. So everyone there was just losing it, and it was really cool. It made me so nervous, like sitting on the top, warming up.
I bet it did.
Like, hearing how loud they were all the way down the hill. Like, when you were warming up, like, I had the Bose noise-canceling headphones. That's what I wear. I don't like hearing the trainer, the crowd, all that stuff. Right. And I like to seclude myself, and I could not hear it. It was
So you have these
crazy.
Inside your helmet?
No, I have them. A lot of dudes ride with earplugs. I just had my headphones on, warming up on the trainer, like at the top of the mountain.
Oh, you were just on the top.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And I couldn't block it out. It was really cool. It was. Like, when I was down at the bottom, obviously you're, like, going for it and you're blocking things out. But, like, that whole open section, wild zone underneath the gondola, crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going that fast there. So it's just, like, you just had people screaming at you from all directions. And, like, I qualified really well there. And I was, like, one of the last riders down.
Yep.
My family was there. And I was, like, losing it inside my helmet, you know, getting ready to go into the lower hairball and just, like, fully just swing the bat at the baseball and hope it works out. You know, like, that's lower airball. Like, you go in wide open and you can't touch the brakes. You just hope it works out. So
just lean back and just
let it eat.
hope it spits you out on the other side safely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really regret not going to that race, and I could just imagine. You know, I did watch it, and it was fantastic, and the drama was amazing for the top guys that were going for that. And then, of course, you know, I was hoping for the spoiler. I was hoping for the U.S. guys, even though they all, most of them did really well. You guys did really well.
Charlie
at that
Harrison
race.
Killed it.
I know.
He had a great run. Super, super happy for him on that one.
Yes.
Kid killed it. Absolutely.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. He
did great.
He went for it.
So we were all like, are we going to get a spoiler? Is Dakotah going to come? You know? and you did. I mean, it was a fantastic run.
I had a good run. I made some mistakes up top. I mean, it's racing.
But we were just like, come on, spoil these guys. Just spoil these guys. Come on, USA. Let's do it. And I was cheering from the house, but it was, I regret not being there. And just coming from, you know, you being here at Ray's and stuff, like, we're cheering for you all the time. Like, I know it's coming. I know like a good result is coming. And to get back on that podium, because you were there once, you can get back on it again. I know you can. So, moving on, let's talk a little bit about dirt bikes, because I want to talk about Bernard Kerr with this $10,000 bet that he's going to make A1.
I know a lot of dudes that rail on dirt bikes. Like, I mean, I hope he does it. He's made a lot of noise. I think it's going to be really, really hard to do.
I know.
And if he can do it, good on him.
Right.
Like, good for you. If you can qualify, Palmer said that's the hardest thing he ever did, and he was incredibly talented at so many things, achieved so many things.
You were talking about Sean Palmer.
Sean Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Because he raced.
You met this guy?
I know the guy. I know the guy. I've met him a couple times.
Was this through Intense?
Yeah, through Intense.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, when Shane Leslie and Stephen Walton were running on the Palmer project, racing on the Palmer project, I got to spend some time with him, and he gave me a nickname, Kubota, because I was really loud.
Kubotas are really loud?
I guess I feel like a tractor.
Oh.
He was like, you're really loud. I'm like, yeah.
So you ride moto. So have you ridden like any Supercross tracks?
Yeah, I have. I went down to Millsap's training facility last year and got to ride the Supercross track there. And
is that in Georgia?
It's in. Yeah, it is in Georgia.
Is it in Georgia?
Yeah, just over the Florida border.
Okay, all right.
So Cairo, Georgia.
Yeah. And
humbling.
What did you think? I mean, it's gnarly, right?
It's like you see the track and you're like, I could go ride it, but when you land in a rut and there's a rut all the way around the corner and off the lip of a triple,
right?
It's like there's no room for error on these tracks. Like, I was jumping this rhythm section, I was jumping off a table over a roller and then tripling into a corner, and I overshot it once, bottomed out my bike so hard. I was on motocross suspension and got spit over the corner so fast that I was just like, I had done like 4 laps on the track, and I was like, I don't need to be doing this. Like, I'm gonna get hurt. I can get through some smaller whoops, and I've hit the triples, I've done it.
Right.
Like, I don't need to be doing it. Like, it's scary. Dude, it's so hard. So this dude is gonna come over here and try to. A1 is like the gnarliest race of the year. Everyone's fired up. Huge training, testing.
Yeah. Who knows if they're really even gonna let him do it? Because he's got a UK pro license, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna come to America and into California and kind of do that. I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really do hope that they let him at least try to compete and just see, whether he can.
I mean, he
qualify.
Put himself out there. He went for it, and dude, if he does it, that would be an awesome story. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Awesome story.
Do you think it would open the door for other people wanting to do the same thing?
Yeah.
And do you think that there's guys out there that are way talented on a motocross bike that just don't take it as serious?
There's so many dudes that are incredibly fast and just don't even race the Supercrosses because they can't afford to get to them, and they can't afford to do the whole series and stuff. There's like, I have a friend, Anthony Rodriguez, that's like rode for Star Yamaha, rode on the Rocky Mountain KTM team, and he can't even compete on a 250F, and he just went to Europe and raced GPs.
Sure.
And he's been over there, but he's not even racing Supercross just because the dude is insane, incredibly fast. Like, I watch him ride a motorcycle, and I'm like, there's no way anyone could ever go faster than that. And he doesn't even race the Supercrosses. Like, he'll
because those guys are
at that. They're at that level, yes. And I mean, he's done it. Like, he's podiumed in 250, but he doesn't even race them at this point. He can't find a ride, so he can't afford to do it. So if Bernard can go out there and compete against the dudes, like the top echelon of the sport, and go, I mean, I know his goal, like what he said, is that he's not trying to make the main event. He's just trying to ride the bike on the floor and qualify through to even line up and get on the starting gate, is what I think.
To make the night show.
Yes. And if he does that, that's rad. Because just even riding that track is an absolute accomplishment in itself. Like, I see those motocross whoops, and I'm like, or supercross whoops, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't want any part of that. I would like to try to race an outdoor national. I've raced some motocross, and I mostly raced 25 plus, but I do it for fun. I enjoy it. I can sometimes go out there and run with the local A class, but I can't compete in A at like mini O's.
What are you riding right now?
KTM 450.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Those bikes scare me.
They're fun. They're fun, but they will bite you.
If you've been riding, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I don't ride 20-inch BMX anymore, because they'll bite you.
I miss turn downs, but I cannot ride a 20. I like every year I get this thing. I get on my 20 and I'm going to ride it again so I can do turn downs.
Right.
And I make it to the skate park, 4 laps around the bowl, squirrel out and loop out, and I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. I'll stick to what I'm doing.
Yes. DJs are much more forgiving. I think they're a smoother ride. I think it's the ticket. But yeah, it's true. The motocross thing is something that I've been thinking about, but I've got way too many things going on right now. But it's inspiring and cool to watch you guys, and even guys like Aaron Gwynn, Bernard. I'm sure the list is endless of guys that ride moto, but it is really cool. And what you said earlier is it is training, and you are using it for training, and I think it does help.
Absolutely.
To get out there and go that fast at stuff and have that coming at you so fast that you can try and analyze it and pick where you're going to be and all that stuff, and then what's coming next and what's coming next. Yeah,
those tracks evolve so fast. You have to think. Your brain's always working. You know, the track's always evolving and changing every lap, and there'll be rocks in the corners, and you have to, just be able to think fast, be able to hold on, for a 20-minute moto is no joke.
Right,
like it's hard. Your heart rate goes through the heart rate curve from racing a downhill race run and racing motocross. It looks exactly the same. So it's really good training.
Interesting. So let's move on a little bit and talk Sprinter vans for a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was talking to Dave Lieb a little bit, and he had a horrible experience.
Yeah, he had
with the emission stuff, right?
Misfortune.
Yeah. He got one like I got, and it was just all emission stuff. So I put countless dollars in.
Yeah. Did you do your emissions delete?
No. So I live here in Cleveland, which still has e-check.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure that there's guys out there going, well, if you register it a certain way, and I'm kind of one of those guys that I just don't want to put myself out there to be breaking any kind of rules or whatever, because I'm just so afraid of getting caught and like losing my license or having to pay a fine or something like that. That is like one of my things that I fear the most is speeding tickets, a parking ticket, or some sort of violation that I have to pay money for something that to me is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going 10 over on the highway, you get pulled over, it's $250 or $350. I mean,
expensive.
That's a lot of money.
And they don't play in Ohio.
Right, they don't play in Ohio. So the delete thing was something that I obviously thought about, because I have put so much money into. We figured it out. We put as much money fixing the emissions than we did buying the van.
Boy, wow.
Okay.
You can.
But so I will say this: I bought the van pretty cheap, and it was one wheel in the grave when I bought it. Yeah. So we brought it back, and now it's great. But we did have to spend a lot of money, and he did. And Dave did the same thing. Like, he had a lot of problems. He got caught up in New Hampshire. He's a pro bicycle rider, slopestyle guy. He's not making a lot of money.
No.
I mean, he's not.
He was working at a bike. He was working at a bike shop.
And traveling the country back and forth, just barely having enough money to put fuel in the van.
Yeah.
And then that happens, and it's $8,000. $8,000.
Sell your van.
And he's just like, I don't have $8,000. I don't even have $800, let alone $8,000. So the story,
he called me.
So the story was, he did get the van from the dealer, and I guess they fixed it enough for him to get it back to Michigan or something. But he eventually sold it. So I noticed on your Instagram that you're building a new van, or you've had
rebuilding my van. Yeah, I've had this van.
Okay, so is this like your daily driver?
Yeah, I had another car for a little while this year, and then I was just so fed up with paying 2 car insurances. We we don't make a ton of money either. It's not like
Right.
I'm rolling in dough.
Right.
So, you know, even like a lot of the stuff, I do the van stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this will wait till next month. But
Yep.
I had another car for a while, sold it, put some money into the van. I bought my van it was 2015. I flew to Texas and bought it. With 100,000 miles on it. It now has 175,000, which people are like, whoa, it's a Sprinter. I had all the 200,000 mile maintenance stuff done, so we'll see. At this point, I'm deep enough in it where I'm just going to drive it until it won't drive anymore, is my plan. But
do you have a good mechanic?
I have a great mechanic.
A Mercedes mechanic or a shade tree mechanic?
I have these guys from Russia.
Oh no!
No,
Oh,
so I have
Is
this.
that the key now? Is we have to find these guys from Russia?
I don't. They definitely speak Russian. They barely speak English, but they are like Sprinter specialists. Like everything you take it in, if there's something wrong, he's like, oh yeah, it's this. Like he's seen it all.
And what
He's
year
worked.
is yours?
Mine's a 15.
Okay.
So mine's a newer one, four-cylinder
yeah.
motor, which apparently the four-cylinder motors are supposed to be a bit better. And
that's what I have.
My buddy Logan Mullally, he has
Yeah.
Nico's old van. His is at 173,000. Mine's probably going to be 175 after this trip. And I looked at selling it, and I was like, and I'm just going to drive it.
Why not?
I don't feel like, going through the whole process.
It's so when you go to Home Depot or something, or you go to Walmart, or you go wherever you go shopping, you just park at the end, or like at the end of the parking lot.
You get exercise,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so there's part of your training as well. You just park in the back of the parking lot.
You know the struggle.
Yeah, I mean, but I park in the back of the parking lot anyway, just because I think people don't care about their cars, and I do. So I don't want people bumping into my car, or people not paying attention, which people do nowadays. Yeah. So I usually park in the back anyway, but mine is the 170 extended, so it takes up 2 spots anyway.
Yeah.
But
mine's 170. I don't have the extended.
Yeah, but it's just you have to park in the back of the parking lot, and that's okay. But these things drive so well.
Oh, absolutely.
They are a dream to drive, and like you said, you put on 75,000 miles. It's pretty easy to do in a Sprinter.
Yeah.
So where are you driving? That's 75,000 miles. Are you driving to Whistler?
Yeah,
Did you drive to Whistler?
So when I first owned my van, in order for me to be in a better position to go and race and do my thing, I actually fully sold everything that wouldn't fit inside that van, and I moved into my van full time for 2 years.
Oh wow!
To move to Tennessee and pursue racing, and I wasn't making a lot of money at the time. You talk about Dave, and the vans are a great inhibitor to be able to get more places, do more things, live a little more economical with, and be where you need to be and not be spending a ton of money on hotels and flights. And so the first couple of years I had mine, I drove to California 3 times the first year I had it.
And you just go and you're racing.
And you go and you race, and I would go race to race to race to race. Like I wouldn't spend the money to, because I didn't have another job. All I did was race, and I was fully committed to racing, and I wasn't making a lot of money. So I would drive to the race and then just stay and ride and drive to the next race and drive to the next race, and that's how I put all those miles on, just going racing. I went to Whistler, and I went and stayed in the Whistler parking lot for a while, like a lot of people do, and got some
now
some
is that
time
illegal?
There is a camping lot, but people get greedy, I think, and they like to park up in the front, and then you can get in trouble. But I think there is a dirt lot, lot 6, I think, that you can stay in, and that's what I did.
Okay.
I don't.
Did you see the bears walking through the parking lot?
Yeah.
Like there's this bear just walking. I couldn't believe it. I went one time, and I can't wait to go back. But I did. I thought that was the craziest thing, that these bears are just at night or when the sun's going down.
It's kind of hard spending that much time alone in your van. You learn a lot about yourself. It's probably one of the worst things I've ever done. Like traveling.
Is it because you just find yourself like just bored out of your mind, that you just don't have anything to do?
Sometimes.
Did you read a lot? I mean, is that something that you tried to do?
For me, Yeah, I mean, you go on your phone, you read, you go watch movies, watch Netflix, whatever. But I just had a lot of time to think. I'm not a dude that just gets in the car and turns the radio on and starts driving. Like I just sit there in silence for forever. And I don't know, going into places and getting a meal by yourself, or going and riding somewhere when you don't know if, like, you don't have to have a friend to go do it with. Like,
right.
Like show up. For me, I know enough people that it's like usually you find somebody or you meet someone or in things like that. But just like going and doing stuff by yourself, I think it's really good. And I think that, like, we're so connected all the time in our generation and the world that we live in, that people are often really afraid to do, I couldn't go ride because no one wanted to go with me, or like, I couldn't go here because of this, or there's always an excuse.
The internet has made things so small now.
Yeah.
That if you're in Utah or if you're in Wyoming or you're just passing through, you might even know somebody from that area. Like, with the internet, it just makes things so much smaller now that you could just reach out to somebody. Maybe it's not even somebody that you know personally.
Yeah. It happens all the time. Yo, dude, I'm here. Or you post a picture. Hey, yo, whatever.
Right,
like, and it
somebody
happens.
Hits you back and says,
yeah.
Hey, man, I'm here, dude. You're in the area. I got this
Let's
super
go for a ride.
sick, like, private spot. And you're like, this is the best.
It's cool. It's really cool.
The best ever.
That my Sprinter, I know that. I've had some friends that have had some vans that they've had problems with.
Yes.
But that van has enabled me to do more things and ride my bike more than any other choice that I've made in my life. It is the best. Absolutely, buying my van is the best thing I ever did.
Right. So then you lived out of it for 2 years, and you didn't have anything else. Didn't have an apartment to pay for. Didn't have, obviously,
Nope.
No relationship.
Didn't have a moto. I didn't.
You sold your moto.
Yeah. I hadn't rode. I grew up racing motocross. I raced until I was like 14, 13 to 14, and then I didn't ride until I was like 24.
Okay.
And I bought a moto 24, 25, like kind of after college when I was getting more back on my feet racing. And I bought a moto and started riding again, and it's been so fun. Like, riding once a week is the coolest thing ever. And I have great sponsors, Maxima, Alpine Stars, like so many people that, help keep my bike running.
Wow, that's great.
Like those guys take care of me and give me gear to wear and stuff. So
no major problems with the van?
No major problems with the van.
No emission problems, or is it deleted?
I did the AC compressor. That's a pretty known thing. I actually just spent $4,000 on my van. So I drove it from 96,000 miles to 175,000 miles and literally did nothing but oil changes, filters, your normal maintenance, never had an issue. And I did I had to do the AC compressor. That was an issue. And then my intake manifold gasket was leaking. Yep. I did a couple axle bearings, some pulleys, and a serpentine belt, and fixed an oil leak. And it was like $4,000. So if you're going to buy a van, the repairs are pretty expensive. Mercedes parts are expensive.
They are.
Maybe get a little nicer van up front and save yourself the repair bill. But I'm so happy I've done it.
I would always suggest, too, if you're buying a used van, to try and get as many maintenance records as you possibly can, because you want to know what's been done to the van.
Yeah. I mean, a transmission flush on a Sprinter is $500. So if it hasn't had the transmission flush done at 60,000 miles or whatever it is, I think it's like, I bought mine with 98 and it didn't show a trans service, so I just serviced it right away.
Yep.
And I've been good. I actually got to do another one. I think it's every 70,000, so I got to do one soon here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't had any really. It's never left me stranded.
So that Sprinter's got some history.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got some.
I'm excited to show you mine. I actually brought mine today because I knew you were coming. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit on Instagram, and I saw that you went to Wheel Mill, and I was gonna send you a note then and be like,
"Yo, what's the deal?
Yo, why? We love the guys at Wheel Mill. They're awesome people." But I was like, "Wait a minute.
What's the deal?
What? Did you forget?" No, I don't.
Yeah.
And then I just sent you a message. I forget what. On the van. You were posting pictures. You were redoing the van, rebuilding the inside of it, which I think is really cool, and it's exciting to get like a new, fresh start with that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I completely gutted it.
And you learn from it. So I sent you a message, and then you sent it back. So I brought my van today. So I'm excited to show you that. And when you meet other people with vans, you want to see what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And you learn from that, because you can learn to say, hey, you know, oh, you put that over there, you put that on this side, and oh, you're using this for that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest thing, but you have to see it. And all the forums, I think, sometimes can be really confusing.
And people
because
think...
you mentioned the insulation thing. So the insulation thing on the forums.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
People are crazy. I think that people honestly don't know. So yes. I think that if they feel that they buy the most expensive thing possible, they won't have any regrets that they didn't do it right, because they're super uninformed. Like, I think, you know, you have the vapor barrier war of, it's like, oh, well, you're either, like, once the moisture gets in, then it's stuck there, and you got a moisture sandwich, or do you know, not have moisture so it can breathe, and there's all these debates, and I was afraid.
About fiberglass, and
I pulled my fiberglass out, because I didn't have a vapor barrier, and it was looking pretty gross. So I just did stone wool and blue board, but I tell people, absolutely insulate your floor. You're going to wish you did, because that floor gets cold. Like, if you have people in the back of your van and you're driving down the highway, your floor gets so cold.
I know, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, how cold it gets in the back.
Yes, it's cold back there.
Yeah, I know, but there's nothing really that's back there, unless you might have had like a passenger van to start out with.
Yeah.
And they had the ducts that came in the back. But if you just had a cargo van, there's no ducts anywhere.
No.
Like, it's only the front that's got the heat coming out of it. And even in my van, sometimes it doesn't even come out of the vents. It comes out somewhere else. I don't know where it comes out at, but I get cold. But I think, you know, so this is the second interview now that I've sort of brought up Sprinter vans.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with my van.
Absolutely.
And I know that you love it too. And I think it's getting more and more popular with people from the moto side, from the mountain bike side. Even for the BMX racing side of things, like if you're out there and you're traveling around, I mean, you could save a lot of money by just staying in the van. And if you get a big enough van, you and your son, or you and your daughter, or maybe the two kids, you guys could totally sleep in the van. It's not that hard to do. So, are you done with the build out now in your van?
No.
So you're going to go home and finish it?
I'm going to go home and finish it. So I was waiting on some parts. I actually had UPS lost some packages that I had some stuff coming, so I kind of tied up my build for a little while. Pretty much right now I'm at the point where I have a diesel heater, insulation on the roof, my ceiling, my lights. Right. I have my walls are insulated, and so now it's just like cabinets, sink. I'm going to do a water tank so I can have access to water.
Right.
And just putting some carpet up. I'm waiting on the carpet for the walls. So that's really tied me up. No, not
like
shag.
Old school 70s shag?
Well, I was thinking like I was gonna put AstroTurf on the walls.
What?
No, I'm gonna do some tweed. So I have this like 4-way stretch tweed. I'm gonna do. A couple buddies of mine have vans.
So is this a glue on?
Yeah, I'm gonna glue it on.
Okay,
so I'm gonna do 1/8-inch foam behind it. And it's like 4-way stretch and wrap it around my wall panels. My buddy Lear did his van's van yacht _yacht on Instagram. His is like absolutely the raddest van I've seen in a long time. And my friend Jason Schroeder, another American downhill racer, he's done his van now with the same fabric. So I've seen a lot of cool stuff. Like I seen the other day, these people took like old industrial pipe, and like on the edge of their counter, like they make those like swiveling Laguna table things, and they swivel around, and they're really expensive. And they just took a piece of pipe, and with a 90, another piece of pipe, and a 90, and it attaches to the bottom, so it's like on thread, so it'll swivel, like on this old industrial pipe. It's so cool. So I seen that was,
and it doesn't unthread.
No,
it just threads and threads back.
Threads enough to swivel.
A quarter turn.
Yeah. Yep. Enough to swivel. Seen that. That was real cool. I'm currently in the, I've built my van so many times, and like, I don't really, like, you build these things, it costs a lot of money. And it's like, I'm kind of in the point where the first time I built it, I kind of like really, really did a budget build and made sure I wanted to figure out what build style I want, moto van or like the old mini garage with the bed over. And I tried a lot of different things and modded it. And now I know what I want, and I'm building it nice. Like, I'm going to go through and I did good insulation. I did rubber coin floor. I did all the aluminum trim. I'm having like you know, my bed frame made out of aluminum. I'm doing, you know, nice aluminum cabinets in it. So hopefully whenever I decide to sell the van, it'll have a little more value. And I'm also doing a real generic build. So hopefully I can sell it built out for more money than what I paid for it if I do it right. But who knows? Maybe I'll just lose a bunch of money. Who knows?
But I think we're all going to lose a bunch of money on these Sprinter vans, as much money as we put into them.
Yeah.
You know, to try and get that out of it, I think is
not possible.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just don't think it is, but it is fun. I think there are a lot of fun, and like you said, when you're in the off season, you need like these little projects and these little things that you do, and if you're able to do them yourself, you can save a ton of money by doing it, and then it's something that you build. And it's something that you love. You
learn, you work hard at it, and it's something that really reduces friction in your life as well. Like, you know, with me racing, training, like every week I ride trail bikes, I ride my hardtail, I ride my dirt bike, I go to the gym. So to pack all that stuff every week into my van, and, you know, almost every week I go to Asheville, North Carolina, and I go down there to do some trail riding. My coach is down there, Nico's down there, my girlfriend's down there. So I pack and I unpack and I pack and I unpack, and the moto comes out, it gets washed, it loads back in the van, and just
but everything stays in the van.
Well, everything was getting pulled out of the van before, so now I'm making it so that I can keep all of the stuff that I need to race and train in one place, and that way it's not a constant load and unload. Like I have a set of tools in the garage, a set of tools in the Sprinter.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
And, you know, like spare parts and stuff, and it's not like a big everyday, like, oh, what do I need to bring? Oh, did I forget my clip shoes driving to the track, you know?
I know.
Like, it's just all in there. And then if something gets dirty, I can just wash it up and put it back in a drawer and just leave it in there, and it's self-sufficient. And hopefully it'll take a little bit of that stress, those things that burnt me out last year, away from what I'm going to do this year when it comes time to racing.
That sounds like a solid plan. I mean, that's kind of what we do, but we don't have as many. We just got the Dirtjumpers and the trail bikes.
Yeah.
So it is sort of a, you know, the Dirtjumper stuff is a whole different set of, you know, clothes and pads and helmets and all that stuff is completely different. And we do have to unload and load if we know if we're going to BMX race or we're just going to the dirt jumps or we're just going whatever. So you're here in Cleveland and you're going to go back to Michigan. Right?
I went to Michigan for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go back to Knoxville.
So now you're just leaving from Cleveland to go back. Back to Knoxville, and then you're gonna finish the van as much as you possibly can before you go to California. Will you drive to California?
No, I'm gonna fly out. I'm just going out for the week, and I'm kind of torn. After Christmas, I may go to California for a month and go to some better weather, ride moto, train. May go to Florida actually, and maybe not ride as much downhill, but just go down there and like do my base and do my intervals and ride my dirt bike, and then in February really hit it hard for downhill when the weather's better, February into March. So I'm unsure of where I'll go, but I'm definitely right after Christmas gonna leave for a month or so in my van, hopefully. So that's kind of my deadline of having things finished is Christmas.
So
and it's coming quick.
So what does the temperature outside have to be for you to be like, I'm not riding outside today? Or does it matter?
I hate riding outside. I hate being cold. That's why I left Michigan, dude. Like,
I don't blame you. Well, there's got to be a temperature where you're like,
under 40
in Knoxville.
Yeah, under 40, I'm getting on the trainer. Like I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Like that's kind of like I'm soft. I'm very soft. Like I will be the first one to admit it. My ears get cold. My toes get cold.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I have to agree. There is a certain temperature that I just am not comfortable in, and I just won't do it. It's great that I have this place where I can come and ride, but so Knoxville gets that cold?
Yeah.
Like for a month?
Yeah, probably about a month. We get
2
weeks where it may snow and it's really cold. A month where it like we have issues with the freeze thaw, and it'll almost get 40 most days during that period during the day, like at the warmest part of the day.
Right.
But then it freezes at night, so everything's always muddy. And luckily, my local mountain bike club, the AMBC, they have a year-round get-down. So it's a place that they put a ton of money into gravel and rock work. So it's all capped like gravel, and you can ride it year-round, so it shouldn't get affected by the freeze thaw so bad. So I have a place that if I want to brave the cold, I can go out and ride, and it's not hard on the trails, and it's not, not hard on my equipment. I can just go out and ride my bike.
Right. So I wanted just to thank you for coming to race.
Yeah.
Because I really do appreciate it. You're more than welcome to come here anytime, as you know. But it means a lot to the people who are here and people. Did you see the two guys come in with the full downhill bikes?
No.
You didn't see those guys?
What?
Full downhill bikes. And I just went over there. I go, hey, do you guys know who Dakotah Norton is? Like that? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, he's here today. Did they come up and say hi?
No. They should. I got to go find these guys. They showed up with full down. That is so rad.
Hours ago. Hours and
wow.
hours. So I didn't see them after that. So they might have come up and got bikes, but I'm not sure. They come in full gas. Full gas. And I just was like,
that's awesome.
I've seen it done. There's guys that will ride downhill bikes in here. But it's not the most efficient way of doing it, but maybe maybe they just bought it. Maybe they're super stoked on it.
Yeah.
And they just want to ride it. But I know you got a couple people that came up to you today and said hey, and I definitely appreciate that for sure. And then for taking the time to just sit down with me and do this, because it's kind of something new that we're doing, and it seems like I'm getting a lot of really cool people to talk to.
I mean, you personally get all these amazing athletes and humans. If you look at the wall of fame here, it's mind-boggling, the names on it. So you have all these cool interactions, but it's nice for you to be able to share all these stories and you should try to get everyone's first race story. I think that would be really cool, and that would make it really interesting for me to get on there and watch. I I think something that needs to happen. Maybe that's a good way to,
You know who was here 2 weeks ago? Missy Giove.
No way.
Yes.
Dude, I seen her at Snowshoe. She's been building there, and she was
ow. She said that she's. I know. Yeah, she is wound up.
Yeah.
She is wonderful. A wonderful person.
So good.
I only get to meet her when she was here. Last week, she was here on a random Tuesday. Nobody was here. And she just shows up.
Sounds like it.
But she says she's working for the trail building company over at Snowshoe and just hanging out, riding her bike, and man, she killed it. She killed it in here.
She
rips. She rips. It's
full
awesome.
gas.
I know.
Full gas.
So have you got to ride with her?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Nice.
A few times now. She'll come out to the park and stuff. She's all pumped up all the time. She's always just fully in fifth, wide open, bouncing it off the rev.
And I felt so bad because we were leaving for vacation that night, so I couldn't stay and do the helmet talk with her.
She's got to come back now.
She has to come back. Please come back, Missy, if you're watching this. There's going to be a lot of bleeps, though. We're going to have to bleep a lot of stuff.
It's going to be... You're going to have to just put an advisory on there.
Just a big advisory?
If you
ask the children. Ask the children to please leave the room.
Yeah.
And we'd like to bring in Missy the Missile Giove.
That is so good.
What's up? Blankety blank 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 beep 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 beep. Like that. I'm like,
that's the
wow,
truth too, man.
This is going great. But, I'm down. I'll totally talk to her. I've got so many questions for her. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish you lots of luck, man. We're pulling for you.
Thank you so much.
Seriously. It's one of those things where I watch World Cup Downhill because you're racing it.
It means so much.
Seriously, though.
That's
why I do it. I have my guys that I sort of watch, but you're the one that I will go back and watch and watch and watch and watch.
That means a lot. It's cool. For me, I still just... I'm the dude that walked into Ray's a few years ago before. It's
and then showed up at some dual slalom. Where was that? It was a Sea Otter?
No, yeah, well, the Whistler.
Okay, so it was Whistler. So me and Dave were talking about that. And you're the one who gave him a DJ?
Yeah, Nick. I think I was working with Nick. But
Came a DJ and said, hey, man, you should really try mountain biking. Is that you?
No, I definitely have gotten Dave onto one because he wasn't going to, there's been several different people, but, Dave was a BMX kid. He was super incredibly talented, working at his local bike shop. And, he's literally that dude where I would call him on the phone and say, Dave, what are you doing? I'm going to come kidnap you. This is me shaking you.
Yes.
You're so talented. You can do it. Just please do it. Please, Dave,
get a
do it.
mountain bike and do it.
Yes. So I know he's rode my bike quite a lot, and you know, we got Nick on a DJ now, which has been awesome. Nick, that kid's incredible at riding a bike. So
a lot of fantastic riders
so
come
much
out
talent.
of Michigan. But you just went to the Whistler pump track thing or dual slalom?
Yeah, like I went to Sea Otter and I totally blew up, like in like the round of 32 or no, I went out in the round of 8, blew that like crux teacup corner on the one lane. That's like that such an important corner.
Right.
Got a little excited, went in hot, and then did a few races, and then went to Crankworks and literally won the thing.
Won the thing.
Yeah.
And then what was the headline? The headline was, I think, there was some publication. I don't think it was in print, but I think it was on the internet. Who is Dakotah Norton?
It was on the cover of Decline.
Yeah, it was on the cover of Decline. Who is Dakotah Norton? Yeah. And I think that's what sparked everybody. And we all know who you are. I mean, you know, obviously.
I've been coming, but at that point in time, not a lot of people knew I was like doing that, or I like redirected. I was just a dude that came in here and rode my bike, you know, and
then you went out there and won this thing, and everybody's like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? And they're like, oh, he's from Michigan. Like, Michigan? What, are you kidding me? So we know here at Cleveland, there's a ton of talent coming out of Michigan. I mean, a ton. And another one of the riders that I was talking about, Brandon Dodge.
That dude is incredible.
Incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
I haven't seen him in a long time, but that's another guy that came out of Michigan.
You talk about riders you want to emulate. I was at the skate park for 2 hours trying to go over the spine and turn my bike like a unturned down and slide my back wheel across the coping like he did. He would go up and like turn his bike the opposite way, and it was literally the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. His Cork 7s. That dude is absolutely incredible at riding a bike. I hope someday I can get him. We've tried to get him on a mountain bike. He hasn't done it. He won't do it. He's like BMX till he dies. But I would love to watch him ride a dirt jumper. I think he'd have a great time. So maybe somebody can motivate him to come out.
I hope so, because I could just imagine the stuff that he could do, even slopestyle stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, and then the big bikes. A lot of people that have never ridden downhill before, you know, I would suggest that if you're a BMX guy, go to Snowshoe, go to Seven Springs, go to it doesn't matter anywhere in the world where you're at. Go to a downhill park and rent a downhill bike.
Absolutely. And
go experience it. Whistler, obviously, you have to do that.
Incredible.
But you could go anywhere and just rent a downhill bike and just do it, because you've already got the skills to do it. Just try it. Just try it one time. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. Just go and do it, man. And you will there will be a revival of your body and your soul. And I know that sounds really deep.
The community, the people.
But I'm telling you, once you do that and you ride a downhill bike like that way and that fast and that big of jumps, you're going to be like, oh my God, why haven't I been doing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's great.
So good. So good.
Thank you. I'm going to let you get back to riding. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Dakotah Norton, people. Later. That's rad. Was that cool?
That's cool.
Okay.
Thank you.